Alright y'all, so welcome back to DivaDollFlawless. I am going to be going over a foundation routine, or the current one that I've been doing. So first things first, you want to make sure that your skin is cleansed, toned, and moisturized. I always tone my skin with witch hazel, which the brand I use is T.D. Hickinson, and that is from Rite Aid or any of your local pharmacies or drugstores, Walmart, Target, what have you. You can use witch hazel to tone your skin. Cleanse my skin with the Aveeno I forget which one it is, but it's a foaming cleanser. If you watch my routine, my nighttime skincare routine, pretty much I just follow that. Outside of taking makeup off, that's what I follow. So you want to start off with a primer prior to putting your foundation on, and the one that I've been using lately is the Revitalift Miracle Blur. I did a review on this in my most recent products that I've been loving from the drugstore, and you just simply take a little bit of it. I'm actually wearing it already, just a tad bit, and I apply it to my forehead, my nose, chin, and then my cheek area, and then I proceed to rub it in. Now, prior to doing my foundation, when I put my moisturizer on, I let that sit for at least 5 minutes. So after you get out of the shower, I would say just tone your face, put your moisturizer on, or any daytime serums or eye creams that you're going to put on. Let those sit in your face while you there. Then you can just go get dressed, lotion up. And then I always start off with my eye makeup so that I can allow the rest of my facial products to set in. Next thing I do is I take a facial spray, and I've done a review on this as well. This is from Ulta. This is the Mario Badescu. It's a facial spray with aloe, herbs, and rose water. The benefits of this would be to pretty much, this one in particular sets your makeup, but it has the rose water and minerals inside of it, so it's going to be healthy for your skin. It gives a little bit of benefits. And then I spray it on my face prior to makeup because it's just prepping my skin for a foundation. What I mean by that is it's just giving it a little bit more moisture, and it's going to allow the foundation to glide across my skin. So I just spray my face, give it about 2 or 3 pumps. If you don't have that and you have Fix Plus by MAC, same thing. The only difference is this does not set your makeup. I was told that it set your makeup a while back, and then come to find out when I started working at MAC and a couple other people were like, it's just a facial spray. It's not going to necessarily set your makeup. But however, with MAC's Fix Plus, this is great to give you a nice dewy finish in the skin, which is the same thing that the Mario Badescu does. It can give you a nice dewy finish with your foundation, spraying it on afterwards. So I just, give my face a couple pumps, and I'm going to go on with two foundations. The first one is the CoverGirl 3-in-1 860 in Classic Tan. Now, the reason being that I'm using 2 different foundations is because my skin switches up in the summertime, and currently right now I'm going through that. Normally, everyone has a outer perimeter of the face that's darker. So what I'm going to do is pretty much mix my foundations and show you how I do that on my face. And normally I would do this on clients as well. If I don't have a foundation that matches them, I'll create one. But I normally use cream foundations. Those are like my absolute favorite type of foundations, would be cream or the Studio Sculpt from MAC. I absolutely love Studio Sculpt foundation. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is pump it on the back of my hand. If you're doing a client's makeup, then you will want to just use a stainless steel spatula and a palette. I'm going to spray this, do a pump on the back of my hand. I spray my brush, and the brush that I'm using is my Sedona Lace 480. And I always start in the middle of my face, or any application for that matter. I start in the middle of the face, applying the foundation. If you need more on the back of your hand, by all means, just go ahead and grab more. And you just want to begin to buff this into the face, but you want to stay towards the middle because the middle of my face is where it's a little bit lighter. And then to match it up, I'm going to use the darker one, which is the Outlast Stay Fabulous 865 in Tawny. I'm going to use that around the perimeter. But I'm going to continue to buff this one into my skin, just in the middle portion of my face. And I always start from the middle of my face and move out, because this is where you want more of your coverage and more of the product to be, so that you can blend out that way and get more of a natural look and finish. Alright, dolls, so once you've gotten that first layer of foundation on, the next thing I go in with is concealer. And this is just with me still working again in the middle of my face. The concealer I'm going to use is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. This one is in a NW35. And I use this one under my eyes just to give me a nice subtle effect. The lighter look under the eyes. Okay, now you can apply this with your finger, you can apply it with a sponge, you can apply it with a brush. I like to place mine with the finger and then sometimes go in with a makeup sponge similar to this one. But today I'll probably just use my finger and this brush. And you want to make sure that you're always using your ring finger in your eye area, because that's the one that has the least amount of pressure in it. You want to make sure that at all times you're protecting that skin around your eye and trying to help prevent wrinkles as much as possible. Okay? So I'm just going to blend this in. Now, prior to my concealer or foundation, if you wanted to color correct, meaning if you have some really dark circles under your eyes or any darkness around the mouth, then what you will want to go in with is whatever, color correction of your choice. And normally for me, I would use an orange. So if you're my skin tone or darker, you can use orange. You can actually get away with a little bit of salmon, something similar to this color right here, which is in my Graftobian palette. Something similar like this. You can use that, but I just stick with orange, especially if I end up having any like dark circles or anything under my eyes from no sleep. But yeah, so you will color correct and then apply your foundation if need be. And if you're lighter, then you would just use like a nice pink. If you're like fair skin, then you would use a pink or even a salmon as well to cover any dark circles or marks. You could either use one like this or that same one. And again, that's a Graftobian palette. The orange one is my Makeup Forever concealer palette. Okay, so now that my concealer is on, I would just go in with the darker color around the perimeter. And this is, again, if you are mixing two different color foundations. So this one is 865 Tawny, and I pump that on the back of my hand as well. And now what I'm going to do is just go around the perimeter of my face, and it actually blends right in with the other one. And I personally like to mix foundations, especially when I'm working with clients, because I feel like it gives the skin a more realistic look. No one's one flat color. We all have darker colors mostly around here, and then we're lighter in the middle of our face. So I just feel like sticking with that rule, when you apply foundation, even though you're applying the products onto your skin, you still want it to make it look as natural as possible. And since you're going to be working on just the perimeter of your face, you want to be using as little product on your brush as possible, because if you have too much, then you're going to have to start blending it forward, and it's going to be a mess. So you start with very little and you gradually build up. Once you have your foundation and your concealer applied, it is now time to set it. With this particular foundation, and just keep in mind that this isn't what I would use for every single foundation. My routines are based upon what type of foundation I'm using. So this is just for this type of foundation. This is what I've been using. So I take my Midnight Neutral Set Powder. I just get a little bit of it in my hands, and then I take my brush and I just simply pat it on the areas like under my eye where I might or might not need to set it. I don't set this particular area per se, due to the simple fact that this actually dries down to a powder finish. And number two, I like to put on my bronzers, my contours, and my highlights. I like to use those actual powders to set my foundation. I feel like it gives it like a nice dewy and pretty effect when you don't set it and then add all those other products on top of that powder. So the only areas I really set or just add a little bit of color would be under my eye area where that concealer was, and then just right here in my T-zone area, because that's where I tend to get a little bit of oily. But so far so good. I've been wearing this foundation non-stop. I have not had any issues with a lot of like oils or anything like that. So I'm going to go in with my blush, and I'm going to use CoverGirl. I absolutely love this blush, and this is by MAC. And the brush that I'm using is my Sephora Professional 55 brush. And I'm going to just do one side of my face because the other side I can just do off camera. So I'm just going to blend my blush in, okay? And I tend to use circular motions when I'm applying my blush. And I always take it back to my hairline. If you want to, you can smile, and that will show you where the apples of your cheeks are. Personally, I don't like to smile when I do it because I feel like when you smile, your cheekbone's up here. And then when you're not smiling, it's down here. So I pretty much just apply mine a little bit higher, you know, when I'm doing my foundation and what have you. The next thing I'm going to do is contour. I'm going to use my NYC Matte Powder Bronzer. This I purchased from CVS about a summer or 2 summers ago. And I'm going to use my MAC 168 brush. And I'm just contouring. And I do this in every single video. I try to show, you know, which foundation I use that time. And I try not to use the same foundation every single time, just so that you guys can get a feel for how I apply different products. You want to make sure that when you are applying your foundation, your blush, your contouring, your highlighting, especially with contouring, you want to get familiar with your bone structure so that you know where to contour. Contouring just is like the hollowness of your cheeks. That's where you would contour. So maybe you would make a fishy face like this. And in that area, that's where you're going to contour. And again, I start near the back of my cheek, and I always start near my hairline to get most of the color there and then blend forward. I'm going to wipe this same brush off, and I'm just going to do the same thing with my highlight. And my highlight I'm going to use is my Laura Mercier, and this one is in Candlelight. I really like this one. And then I'm going to just sit this on the top of my cheekbone, okay? And this is just going to add some light to the cheek and just really allow that cheekbone to pop out, okay? And that will pretty much be it as far as highlighting, contouring, and all that and whatnot. If you feel like you put a little bit too much contour or highlight on, you can just take that same brush and just go over it, and that will tone all of that down some. The brush that you use to set your powder, set your foundation. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I'm going to pop some little lip gloss on. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I hope that it answers any questions, and if any of you have been using the CoverGirl Outlast foundation, that you know, it'll help you in how you apply it. But until next time, dolls, have a gorgeous day. Smooches. Mwah. Bye.